Perfect. We have Izzy here. We'll go ahead and start. We'll go Carly, then Julia.
Hey Izzy, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good. I got one logistical question before we get into it. What are your off-season plans? Are you gonna play for Athletes Unlimited again, or are you going overseas? What's the off-season plan?
So I'll be heading overseas first to USK Prague, and I'm excited to be back with that team. So I'll be over there and just hooping and all those things. And the plan is for AU. I want to plan to be in AU because it's in Nashville as well. And I've been with AU for a while now, so they always hold like a special place in my plans whenever it comes to off-season stuff. So yeah, that's the plan.
Sounds good. You said at the beginning of this season that this was kind of a healing year for you. And there was a lot that kind of went on, with you being back. There were two coaches and a different GM last year compared to this year. When you just kind of look back and you evaluate what this season was, how would you evaluate your season that you were able to have this year, as well as Spoon's first year as a head coach?
So my first year being back since my injury, overall was just a blessing. I don't care with the ups and downs. Whenever I'm able to play basketball, I'm happy. So I was glad that I was able to come back from my injury and dealt with that the entire season. And I feel like I made a good push towards the end. And I wanted to continue to do that throughout the season. So first year back was definitely just about my body. Everybody was just here kind of figuring out and my injury in my knee. I'm glad that could be such a thing in the past. That's something that I just really was mindful through this entire season of just being just happy and blessed that I get to play basketball.
And then how would you evaluate Coach Spoon's first year as a head coach in the WNBA?
I think her first year was like most people's probably first year, just figuring stuff out, and I think she just was really willing to try to see where she could hold accountability in a lot of circumstances, and to have a head coach to do that, I think that's huge. Um, and I think that was something that allowed us to continue to push for her. And I think she made that very well known. Um, I I finished my meeting with her and she just was just taking notes, and just to see that after, kind of an up and down season, and she still had the same, energy towards her. I appreciate that because um she was very consistent in that. So it was just probably a learning year for a lot of people.
And then my last question, you're entering into free agency this year. Regardless of whether or not you return with this guy, what's one thing that you really want to see that's on your checklist of where you want to be in 2025?
Number one is to be healthy. And I also don't want to play with a knee brace anymore. That is like something I'm so excited to be done with. But if I need it, I'll wear it. I don't care. But that is something that I'm really looking forward to progressing and just getting healthier. That's something that's on my checklist, and to take time for me to just relax. I've been on a stress mode since May 19th of 2023. That's the day that I had my surgery, and I've just been stressed and pushing myself just to kind of be back where I know where I can be. So now that the season's over, honestly, I'm just like, oh, this has been the first time I've been able to just breathe, you guys. And that's literally all my head is at. I'm just thankful that I made it to this season.
Thank you, and have a good luck. Good luck in Prague this year.
Thank you.
We'll go to Julia, then Alyssa. Julia, then Alyssa.
Hey, Izzy, thanks for taking the time. You mentioned that Spoon was kind of taking notes through that meeting with you. Just kind of what notes did you have for this guy in terms of where you think this team needs to grow the most going into next season?
I think it's more so just saying things we put in later into the season, how much it would have probably been different for us if we would have implemented it in the beginning, just on and off the court. And that's something that when it's your first year, just figuring it out, you see things in hindsight, you know, it's kind of like shoulda, coulda, wouldas. That's kind of what it was like. So yeah, I just gave her the experience that I had this year and things I would have liked to see like earlier, and she was receptive to it, and I appreciate that.
What's one thing that you would have liked to see earlier in the year?
We put in some plays that gave us continuous motion, like movement, and like you kind of can just play off of each other, just like a motion offense. And she put it in for us in the second half of the season, and I know that the girls really appreciated that, and I think she saw how receptive we were to that. So like that's something that she just allowed us to just have as our own and just figured it out. So it was just stuff like that.
And then last one for me, I know you touched on free agency a little bit. What kind of is your perspective going into next year? I know you've got a lot of time to think about this and kind of do negotiations, but is your primary goal to be back in Chicago, and kind of just what are your priorities in terms of playing time, fit, just kind of what you would like to see going into next year?
Just being in a place where now that I don't want my injury to be a factor, you know, being somewhere where I can just play freely and just kind of be Izzy. So wherever that presents itself, that's where I want to be.
Awesome. Thanks, Izzy. Appreciate it.
You.
Alyssa?
Hey, Izzy.
Hey.
I was hoping to go back a little bit to the conversation that you and Dana were having last night about social media.
Mhm.
And I mean, first of all, I'm sorry that you guys are going through that, because that's terrible. But I think you talked about like social media in some ways has become a negative environment for you. But I think you also mentioned that in some ways it still gives you positivity. And I was curious, like, what are those positive elements that you feel like you still get from being on social media?
To be honest, this season I didn't really see a lot of positive. So that is maybe the season's over and I'll get back to enjoying scrolling on my timeline. But there wasn't many positives, to be honest. And a lot of the times that came from a place that I didn't quite understand. I understand basketball. I understand that people have opinions about things, but a lot of the times it came with just unprovoked hate. And it's sad to see that we live in a world that because it's online, like a online space, people don't feel like they have to take credibility for what they say and how they treat people, because I know no one would ever come up to my face and say these things that they say about me and tag me and wish me death threats and just saying all types of negative things that it's just uncalled for. So even by hearing people's real feelings about that situation, there were still excuses being made as to why people said what they said. Instead of gathering that new information and changing their opinion, they continue to just go through like a hateful spiel. And to me, it just, if anything, it just taught me, like, obviously social media isn't a real place, but it can still very much be effective in how people feel in people's mental space. And just be mindful of what you say, because your words have meaning, whether true or not true. And just be real about why you're saying what you're saying. If it's to be hurtful, you need to log off. And yeah, I just found myself it was a weird situation because I truly don't know why I was in that situation to begin with. So that's still something I was trying to figure out. And yeah, people can be cruel. People can be very dense. So definitely a lot of social media breaks. It's something that I've implementing, but it's also one of these things where it's like social media can be used as such an uplifting tool. And for the people that did, encourage me and support me and just show love, I saw it and I felt it and I appreciated it. And you are real basketball fans. And I want those fans to know that. I hate saying fans, supporters to know that. And yeah, I just appreciate all the positive things that I did get out of the season.
Thanks, Izzy, and thanks for being so open about it.
Thank you.
We'll go to Andy and then Steven. Andy, Steven.
Hey, Izzy. This is kind of continuing on what the conversation over the past couple of days has been, but you have come off a couple injuries in your career. Yeah, this season was kind of tough given all the outside noise and stuff like that. I guess my question to you is who or what? It could be a teammate or some sort of mantra, whatever holds you down. Like, what keeps you grounded in trying to bring your best to the court every day and go out there and play your best ball?
To be quite honest, if you guys got to experience Pat in our last few years, you would understand why I have the approach to basketball that I do. Somebody who was that wildly successful died from a disease that she had no control over. And to see how she still came in every single day and just showed love and compassion to to basketball, to women's basketball, to basketball, period. And that was my head coach. And someone like that, who believed in me and saw, I'm sorry, who saw, I don't know why I'm so emotional, you guys. It's been 2 days of this.
That's okay. That's okay.
She saw every bit of love that I have for this game, even in her illness, even with the players that she coached. So if you just know that and the type of player that I am, that a lot of people didn't know me coming out of high school. And yeah, she just believed in me. There will never be another person on this earth that will be able to take that belief out of me. And it sucks because she's not around to attest to it. But yeah, I will continue to always have belief in myself because of Pat and what she means to me in this game. And I wish she could see where I am now, and she knows how much I fought through it because how much she fought through her illness. So yeah, I don't know why I'm so emotional. I've been shedding so many thug tears. But when you go through a lot, you feel a lot. And I'm just glad to finally just be voicing like my feelings because I kept a lot of stuff in for a while.
Thank you so much, Izzy. Keep being you.
Thank you.
We'll wrap it up. Steven, Roberta. Steven, Roberta, last ones.
What's going on, Izzy? How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm blessed. Thanks for asking. I had 2 questions for you. The first one, you talked about being healthy and trying to sustain that. It feels like this would be an off season or transition into a new season where you can kind of work on skill development and be healthy doing so. What do you kind of have in mind in terms of that, in terms of just improving your game going into free agency and next season in the W?
I would say continuously working on my 3-point game. I would say, improving my handles, improving my post game as well. I feel like it was pretty solid going into this year, but with the year off, I kind of lost my touch a little bit. So that's why I'm excited to go overseas this season and to just, get back to basketball. I think that's really important for me. And I truly won't know what type of flow that I need to get into and until I start like playing like just like all the time. That's when like your true game and skills come out. So I feel like once I start to get that like consistent feeling of like, okay, I know where I'm at constantly, every game, I'll start to know like where I really need to improve on. But I would definitely say my 3-point shot and even ball handling is something I would like to work on.
And then in terms of on the personal side of things or even on the court, what's maybe 1 or 2 things that you're really proud of or that you may have learned about yourself this season that you didn't know coming into it?
I'm just proud that I was able to push through an injury that was just so unexpected and like mentally just getting through that. That in itself was like a toll. Just really proud of how I handled that. I'm glad that I always carried myself in a very professional manner, and these are really all things that I knew about myself, but you never really know your true character until you're tested, and I was just consistent with that, and I gave just so much, I feel like, love and light as much as I could this season. I really appreciate my past experiences for just really just shaping me who I am today. and I'm able to just push through these situations and remain Izzy.
Appreciate you. Be great.
Thank you.
Roberta?
Hi, Izzy. Thank you so much for your time and for your vulnerability. My question is more on the basketball side. People say that basketball is a positionless game today, and you as a big, you just talked about improving your three. Can you talk to us a little bit? What were like the main elements that how having three bigs in the sky kind of worked on your advantage and also the other way around this season?
Sorry, could you ask that one more time? I didn't quite understand.
Sorry. Just asking about how basketball today is so positionless, and the team has three players who play as bigs, and you just talked about improving your 3-point. How do you see having those three very similar positions in the same team as an advantage for the team, and also the other way around?
I see it being an advantage because if we do have those similarities, then like that's a position that should just remain solid. We should be able to kind of throw anyone into that role, and we should do fine with that. And I'm sorry, I'm still trying to process that question. Yeah, that's just something I feel like we can remain solid no matter who's in that position. And the other way around, I think it's hard to give whoever is in that position probably long minutes because you have 3 or 4, whoever else is in there, you can just throw anybody in there. So maybe it may be hard to find the time to give everybody that time to do so. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but yeah, it helps because it's a solid position, but it's also like there's other people in that position. So like how do you make it even for everybody? And that's not always the case. So
Sounds good. And the last question, with potentially a new CBA coming up, we don't know if the Player Association is going to opt out. How do you think the Player Association could think and advocate for players on the health and safety side, considering everything that went on this season, especially with you, the stuff that you and Dan were talking yesterday?
how can the new CBA help with the player? And
In terms of health and safety, and how do you think they should prioritize that?
Like mental health, Roberta?
Yeah, mental health. Yeah.
what did I say? I feel like there are resources for us for like what is it? Psychologists to talk to us. We have that. I think honestly when Kathy had to address like what was being done this year as far as like just the amount of hate that has been happening and how divisive it's been, and she basically said that and it has apologized since how divisive it became. I think just continuously advocating for all players no matter who they are because we all face it, and she knows what this league is built on. So just continuously advocating for us to just have a good work environment. I don't think that's like crazy to ask. I don't know exactly what they plan on implementing, but I know a lot starts with her. So just by her kind of saying that, I feel better moving forward and how her and fans, staff, coaches, players will handle the W going forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roberta. We'll end with Carly. Last question.
Izzy, I just got one follow-up on your comments around Coach Pat Summitt. You've talked a lot about and we've heard it a lot from a lot of her former players about the passion that she has for the game and what that's able to instill in players that do go forward into the pro leagues. How would you just describe what that passion is and how that's been implemented into you and how you want to show yourself in the game?
She just made sense. Like, she just really showed that you, by doing the right things in the court defensively, and like defensive rebound is something she used to always talk about. So no matter what the offensive side looked like, if you weren't playing defense and if you weren't rebounding, like, she did not care. And to have a coach like that is so refreshing, because oftentimes the defensive side of the ball never gets rewarded. It's only about the offensive side. And obviously, like, put scores in the game, I get that, but she just made you be an all-around player. And I think y'all saw from the, obviously we know Candace was an all-around player, and it's for a reason. And she didn't come into Tennessee like that. None of us did. But the way that she left and how Pat wanted to prepare us for this level of basketball, like, she knew what it was. She's been around multiple basketball situations, and she was preparing us to face exactly what I'm facing today. So, yeah, she just was real with you, and she got on your ass. But when I tell you, it was from a place of love, and she cared for you and would do anything for you. And just having coaches like that, you will be surprised how many players would run through a wall for you. And yeah, I miss her, and I wish that she was able to see the growth of the game that it is today. And I know she would be pissed watching these games. She would be so mad, but I'm glad she instilled that into me, because I know that's something people still see and appreciate, that, you know, really know basketball. And I'm able to carry that, like, those years of hard work that she's instilled and made an entire program. I'm still able to carry that through me on the court, no matter where I play.
Thank you so much. And again, good luck this offseason.
Thank you. Thanks, Izzy. Thank you.